Hello Estefania, how are you? This is your first virtual video class. Welcome. I hope you enjoy it. As I had already told you in our last class, this virtual video class will be talking about leadership, but not just focusing on the usual question, who are leaders? Who is your favorite leader? No. Something much more deep-rooted, such as, what makes a leader? And how do real leaders, achieve ways for their public or for their followers to follow them? Okay, now one other thing that I want you to keep in mind. Do you remember the phrasal verbs, phrasal adjectives, and phrasal nouns that we did some classes before? I want you to apply all of that vocabulary into the responses for the questions that I'm going to be asking you about the next pictures that I'm going to show you and about the video that I'm going to show you that you have to listen to. So you have to use that vocabulary, all right? So, okay, let's begin. You will also have homework at the end of this video. Okay, let's begin. This is our first example. Christine Lagarde, the IMF chief, the International Monetary Fund chief. She was elected to this position a couple of years ago. Now, my question is, her being a woman and taking into account the circumstances of the economy at this moment in time, exactly how has this woman led? Do you think she's done well? How has she inspired? And of course, there's this man, Barack Hussein Obama, the 44th President of the United States. My question to you about this man is particularly in terms of how he has inspired not just the nation, but the international world itself. Throughout his 8 years of presidency, this man has done so much and has influenced an extremely great deal. My question to you is, how did he do it? How has he inspired? What has he said and what has he done? And what kinds of tendencies has he influenced that has caused so many people to feel inspired by his actions? And now there's this man, Bill Gates, the creator and former owner of Microsoft. He's not the CEO anymore. Now it's another person. I'm not sure what the name is. But anyways, this is a particular man that has inspired an extremely great deal, just as Steve Jobs has. But in this case, this man is a little bit different because he is not the president of Microsoft anymore. He has absolutely no decision-making whatsoever to do in terms of the creative operations of the company itself. But this man still inspires the world in terms of social communities, in terms of technology, in terms of finance, in terms of economics. How does he do that? My question to you is, how does a person continue to inspire even after their responsibilities have concluded? And okay, now let's begin with the video that you're going to be listening to and answering some questions about later.
How do you explain when things don't go as we assume? Or better, how do you explain when others are able to achieve things that seem to defy all of the assumptions? For example, why is Apple so innovative? Year after year after year after year, they're more innovative than all their competition. And yet, they're just a computer company. They're just like everyone else. They have the same access to the same talent, the same agencies, the same consultants, the same media. Then why is it that they seem to have something different? Why?
All right, so Estefania, I hope you enjoyed that listening. It was a very short listen, and I only wanted you to hear the questions particularly, as well as the example that he made about the Apple company, okay? So those questions, I actually want you to answer those questions. Understand the questions that he asked, and I want you to answer them, okay? I have my own personal opinion about it. I just personally believe that it's all about the personality. It's all about the charisma of a person. I think that's what makes the leader, really, like how charismatic a person can be. You even look at a person like Donald Trump nowadays. He's an asshole, he's a bigot, he's a racist, yeah, everything. He's the devil, but he's a charismatic guy. And because of that, the man has actually been a leader. Not a really positive leader, but a leader. Now, I'm going to show you the second part of this listening. It's 6 minutes long, like 6 minutes something long. So I want you to really concentrate and focus on the listening itself. If you want to take notes, take notes. If you want to repeat it, of course, you can repeat it. There's absolutely no problem. Remember, I want you to use all the phrasal verbs, adjectives, and nouns that we have been talking about in the classes before, so you can continue practicing them, as well as try to focus into the detailed information that this man is given about all of the information that he's going to say, which has a lot to do with how leaders inspire, how leaders are created, how leaders talk. So, good luck. And at the end of this, I will ask you some questions, and then at the end of those questions, I'm going to give you your homework.
About 3.5 years ago, I made a discovery. And this discovery profoundly changed my view on how I thought the world worked, and it even profoundly changed the way in which I operate in it. As it turns out, there's a pattern. As it turns out, all the great and inspiring leaders and organizations in the world, whether it's Apple or Martin Luther King or the Wright brothers, they all think, act, and communicate the exact same way, and it's the complete opposite to everyone else. All I did was codify it. And it's probably the world's simplest idea. I call it the golden circle. Why, how, what? This little idea explains why some organizations and some leaders are able to inspire where others aren't. Let me define the terms really quickly. Every single person, every single organization on the planet knows what they do, 100%. Some know how they do it, whether you call it your differentiating value proposition or your proprietary process or your USP. But very, very few people or organizations know why they do what they do. And by why, I don't mean to make a profit. That's a result. It's always a result. By why, I mean what's your purpose? What's your cause? What's your belief? Why does your organization exist? Why do you get out of bed in the morning? And why should anyone care? Well, as a result, the way we think, the way we act, the way we communicate is from the outside in. It's obvious. We go from the clearest thing to the fuzziest thing. But the inspired leaders and the inspired organizations, regardless of their size, regardless of their industry, all think, act, and communicate from the inside out. Let me give you an example. I use Apple because they're easy to understand and everybody gets it. If Apple were like everyone else, a marketing message from them might sound like this. We make great computers. They're beautifully designed, simple to use, and user-friendly. Want to buy one? Meh. And that's how most of us communicate. That's how most marketing is done, that's how most sales is done, and that's how most of us communicate interpersonally. We say what we do, we say how we're different or how we're better, and we expect some sort of behavior, a purchase, a vote, something like that. Here's our new law firm. We have the best lawyers with the biggest clients. We have, we always perform for our clients, do business with us. Here's our new car. It gets great gas mileage. It has, leather seats. Buy our car. But it's uninspiring. Here's how Apple actually communicates. Everything we do, we believe in challenging the status quo. We believe in thinking differently. The way we challenge the status quo is by making our products beautifully designed, simple to use, and user-friendly. We just happen to make great computers. Want to buy one? Totally different, right? You ready to buy a computer from me? All I did was reverse the order of the information. What it proves to us is that people don't buy what you do, people buy why you do it. People don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. This explains why every single person in this room is perfectly comfortable buying a computer from Apple. But we're also perfectly comfortable buying an MP3 player from Apple, or a phone from Apple, or a DVR from Apple. But as I said before, Apple's just a computer company. There's nothing that distinguishes them structurally from any of their competitors. Their competitors are all equally qualified to make all of these products. In fact, they tried. A few years ago, Gateway came out with flat-screen TVs. They're eminently qualified to make flat-screen TVs. They've been making flat-screen monitors for years. Nobody bought one. And Dell came out with MP3 players and PDAs. And they make great quality products, and they can make perfectly well-designed products, and nobody bought one. In fact, talking about it now, we can't even imagine buying an MP3 player from Dell. Why would you buy an MP3 player from a computer company? But we do it every day. People don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. The goal is not to do business with everybody who needs what you have. The goal is to do business with people who believe what you believe. Here's the best part. None of what I'm telling you is my opinion. It's all grounded in the tenets of biology, not psychology, biology. If you look at a cross-section of the human brain, looking from the top down, what you see is the human brain is actually broken into three major components that correlate perfectly with the golden circle. Our newest brain, our Homo sapien brain, our neocortex, corresponds with the what level. The neocortex is responsible for all of our rational and analytical thought, and language. The middle two sections make up our limbic brains, and our limbic brains are responsible for all of our feelings, like trust and loyalty. It's also responsible for all human behavior, all decision-making, and it has no capacity for language. In other words, when we communicate from the outside in, yes, people can understand vast amounts of complicated information like features and benefits and facts and figures. It just doesn't drive behavior. When we communicate from the inside out, we're talking directly to the part of the brain that controls behavior, and then we allow people to rationalize it with the tangible things we say and do. This is where gut decisions come from. You know, sometimes you can give somebody all the facts and your figures and they say, I know what all the facts and details say, but it just doesn't feel right. Why would we use that verb? It doesn't feel right. Because the part of the brain that controls decision-making doesn't control language. And the best we can muster up is, I don't know, it just doesn't feel right. Or sometimes you say you're leading with your heart or you're leading with your soul. Well, I hate to break it to you, those aren't other body parts controlling your behavior. It's all happening here in your limbic brain, the part of the brain that controls decision-making and not language. But if you don't know why you do what you do, and people respond to why you do what you do, then how will you ever get people to vote for you or buy something from you, or more importantly, be loyal and want to be a part of what it is that you do? Again, the goal is not just to sell people who need what you have. The goal is to sell to people who believe what you believe. The goal is not just to hire people who need a job. It's to hire people who believe what you believe. I always say that, you know, there's if you hire people just because they can do a job, they'll work for your money. But if you hire people who believe what you believe, they work for you with blood and sweat and tears. And nowhere else is there a better example of this than with the Wright brothers.
Question number 1. Hey. So, question number 1. What exactly is the golden circle? According to what he said, please describe it in your own words, okay? What you understand from it, what you can take from that. Question number 2. People don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. He said that a couple of times. He said that probably maybe 2 or 3 times throughout the whole video. Very powerful message. I completely believe it. And that's exactly how the world works. People don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. What does that mean for you? And also, how does Sutta apply that? Question number 3. How exactly does he compare the golden circle with the human brain, right? How does he do that? What does he say? And this is your homework, Estefania. These are the Wright brothers. Now, if you notice at the end of the last video that Simon Sinek was talking about, he mentioned, right at the last moment of that video, he mentioned the Wright brothers. He said, no one applied the golden circle so well than the Wright brothers. What does that mean? Who are the Wright brothers? That's your homework. Your investigative homework is to please dig deep into the history of the Wright brothers. Tell me who they were, what they did, why were they so inspirational, what's the history behind that. You have to tell me that in the next class, okay? Estefania, I really hope that you enjoyed this virtual video class, and I really hope that you have a good time doing this. I personally enjoy watching this conference. It's a TED Talk. I love TED Talks. And if you have absolutely any questions whatsoever about any of the instructions that I've given you, please let me know. You can text me or you can call me, okay? I hope you have a great time with this. Take care. I hope to see you next week. Bye.